many people do, I was right. It was something very, it was a very personal moment that I kept to myself. I think it was only like when I developed maybe 6 or 7 chapters, and I sort of thought, this is something I'm kind of doing every week or every day. That made me realise, yeah, I might be onto this. Could be something quite special that I'm actually putting together. And that's when I told maybe one person or another person. But I wasn't too keen to tell too many people because I feared the discouragement. I had that fear that they would discourage me and say, well, you're not capable of it. How could you do it? You can't do it. You know, somebody else should do it. You know, and that was the fear that I had. I was worried, would that get into my psyche and just throw me off course and make me just think, yeah, you know what, I can't do it. But my advice would be to any of you, if you have a goal, if you have something that you're working towards, I'm not saying be secretive about it, but I'm saying be selective who you reveal that to. Is it somebody who's going to inspire you and push you? Is it somebody who's negative, who's going to discourage you? So all of those sort of things you need to bear in mind, and that's what I did. You know. So what I want to do, I'll just ask any more questions at all, or no? What I will do then, I will read. This brings me to a poem that we've got in the book. This is just before the preface, and it kind of touches on what we spoke about a minute ago, in like people believing that you can't do something, or having that belief that you're not capable, or it's impossible for you. This is the poem by Edgar Best, and it's called "It Couldn't Be Done." And this poem came out in 1990, so it's a while ago. But I think it's very relevant and very universal in its meaning and what it means in terms of, you know, going against what you consider to be impossible, but you have the desire of wanting that thing, wanting to achieve that dream. And really nothing's impossible if you are consistent, and if you persist with it and you believe in it, you can make it happen. So here we go. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one. Who wouldn't say so till he tried? So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it as he started to sing, as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has ever done it." But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift off his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitting, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point at you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a trace of a grin. Just take off your coat and go do it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that couldn't be done, and you'll do it. So that's basically it. You've got to just keep pushing, keep going against the grain, keep going for your dreams, and don't let nothing hold you back. You know, I think it's a case of, you know, the realization that it's your life, you know, it's your future. I mean, if you look at how quick this year's gone, you know, what have you achieved within this 12 months? We're coming into 2014 isn't too far away. Can you sort of look behind at this year and say, right, I'm a step ahead, I'm closer to where I want to go. I've used this year, these 12 months productively. You know, I think that's really, even thinking from that point of view gives you that push sometimes to try and treasure and make the most of each month, each week, you know, each year. And that's the key thing. So it's really just getting yourself to push forward, move forward on your dreams and your goals. So yeah, that's one of the poems that we put in here. And initially we wasn't even going to put a poem in there. That page was going to be blank. When we published it, we've got a page which comes after your copyright details, and there's nothing on it. Do you want to put a picture on there? Do you want to do this? And we had the discussion there, or we put a poem, and I was thinking what poem we're going to put there. But I felt this really summed up a lot of the issues that people go through when they're trying to achieve positive change, life-changing experiences that are going to take them to the next level of where they want to go. So any questions or anything? Okay, so what we do, I will go into the preface of SelfMade, and this really just explains what the book covers, what it entails, and sort of obstacles that a person is going through when they're trying to achieve success. So this is Self-Made Explained. This book is about the challenges that one faces within oneself in order to achieve success in life. It's about overcoming the temptation to quit, the temptation to be sidetracked and discouraged by others, and about our inner demons which laugh at us and try to keep us stuck where we are. We may have the desire, we may have the dream, but do we have the willpower, the power and drive to win? So many big ideas today lay in the graveyard because the person who had them didn't stay on track for their implementation. They gave up at the slightest obstacle, and they listened to negative self-talk in their own mind. Their friends and relatives perhaps didn't support them. They got discouraged and forgot the vision that excited them in the first place. The true winners know better. To achieve your goals in life, you must be persistent and never quit. You must express drive and determination and a burning desire to succeed. You must have a powerful belief that you can win, and then surround yourself with like-minded people that will keep you on track. You can also ensure your success by unlocking the secrets to your subconscious mind, which will create a great life for you and the ones you care about. Your only challenge is you. This book will inspire you to take control of yourself and change your life for the better. This book is about remaking yourself so that you can be everything you should be. Now, let's begin. Okay, so it's really like to push you, to take you to the next level, pump you up, really get you to think of that vision, getting you to move forward to where you want to go. And that's really the key things of what a person who's trying to create that journey of personal change. Not just personal change, but positive change. Because you don't want any type of change. You want to have a specific, defined goal, idea, vision of where you want to be, what that journey, what the end result of that journey looks like for you. And it's personal to you. It's not nobody else's journey. It's your journey of where you want to go. So it's really just keeping your mind focused on that and not focusing too much on the obstacles and the challenges. And even if there is challenges, that's not really a problem. Challenges and obstacles actually make you grow. You know, through my challenges, that's made me grow as a person. You've either got two choices. You either can stay in the comfort zone and wake up and think to yourself, where's it all gone? You know, all the things I could have done, all of what I wanted to do, but I didn't do, you know, and that's the comfort zone. Or you can just do what you find yourself, you know, find out how great you are. And one thing I learned through self-help philosophy is everybody's got greatness within them. Everyone's got talent within them, you know. It's just 90% of the time we don't, you know, give ourselves a chance to sort of discover that talent. We get caught up in the routines, the everyday stuff, and we don't really get a chance to find out our true full potential, you know. So that's the key thing, is to keep, no problem. So the key thing is to keep moving and keep striving for your personal perfection of what you want to do. So any questions at this stage? We're moving swiftly through the book, well, at the beginning stages. So
I think I might be able to guess the answer. What's the closest you've come to giving it up? What's been the biggest obstacle you've had to face and overcome? Right. I suspect losing your publisher could be could be up there.
I think losing the publishing was the one of the bigger obstacles, because I was paying them. You know, we had a meeting, we sat down. They were all the way in Evesham, I believe it was, or Havisham, Evesham, somewhere far out. And I went up there, sat down with them in their office, and we had like lunch and everything laid out. We were discussing, you know, what the book to look like, this wanted to be, this wanted to be, all the exciting stuff that we were doing. And we didn't have none of this at that moment. We were discussing all of the ideas that we were doing. So I was really excited about that particular deal and really passionate about it. And then, as I said before, every week they were emailing me pictures and how it's developing, and I was like, wow, I'd come on, check my emails now, whoa, yeah, this is really looking good. And then suddenly, silence, you know. I think we were coming up to, the idea was that the book was going to come out March 2012, and we were in December 2011. And we started working together from October 2011 up until that point. And then that week was just silence, no emails, no phone calls. I was trying to contact them and get nothing. I actually hired a personal brand guy who was sort of coaching me and sort of discussing some of the ideas for the brand in that year. And I was even saying to him, I said, there's pure silence, there's nothing coming from this publishing company, what do you think's wrong with it? He said, well, they're not going to try and rip you off for 200 quid or something like that, you know. okay, that's all right. I don't think there's nothing funky going on. But then it came out. Obviously, they were bankrupt. So in that moment, I was like, this is done. What else am I going to do? You know, where do I go from here? And it felt very alone at that moment. It was a very lonely moment because there's nobody there to really help you. But as the book is called Self, I had to find that higher self, you know. And suddenly my mind was just giving me these ideas. Just email that one, phone that one, contact this one. Hello.
Sorry.
Take a seat.
I've come a long way, if that's any excuse.
So so I had to constantly, I was sent out a whole bunch of emails to people. The strategy was that, well, if I send out a whole bunch of emails to people, then people are going to start to email me back. So I started to contact as many publishing companies as possible. And it didn't really work that way. What happened was a coaching magazine that I registered with because I wanted to publish articles. I also write articles as well. So I thought, well, if I ain't got a book, I'll push my articles. And they contacted me and they said, are you still looking for a publisher? And I said, yes, I am. And from that point, they sent me some details. I contacted the person, and then that is where this all came back. But that was one of the, the most toughest times, And even along the journey of producing the book was challenging in any case, because not all the time you feel motivated and pumped up. That's why I always recommend using tools. I use a lot of audio stuff as well. Many times I'm walking down the street and I've got earphones in, and people may think, oh, that guy's listening to music. I'm not listening to any music. I'm listening to inspirational audio. So it just keeps, you find it's constantly, where most people may have words in their mind saying, you can't do it, or negative words. With the audio, it kind of replaces that. So you find you've got that audio telling you all sorts of stuff. And it's just inspirational authors and speakers that I listen to, such people as Earl Nightingale, such people as Napoleon Hill. I mean, these guys go way back, But, and that's what inspired me to put their philosophy into this book. I didn't create the philosophy, I didn't invent the philosophy. I studied the philosophy and then I practiced it on myself. And then the idea was to share it with other people, and in a book format, and also in a talk format like what we're doing here today. And it's really to just get you to think more positive about life, to be more, to have a more positive attitude rather than believing that things are not possible, and rather than focusing too much on what's going on right now. Because if I think back to what was going on right now when I produced this book, it was a tough year that I was going through when I produced this book. But in my mind, I was focused on all the ideas and all the dreams that I had in producing this book. And that year's long gone now. So whatever you're going through at the moment is temporary. It's not a permanent condition. It's just something you're going through now. Your job is to create the next step. What comes after you get through the storm? What comes after you get through those hard times? Your job is to keep creating the step of, right, I want to do this and I want to do that. And at that moment, you may still be battling challenges, but you're putting in little steps to get where you were. And that's what I was doing. My little steps at that time was coming home and writing and thinking of literature. I'd be at work and an idea would come to my mind. I'd have to quickly go home and type it down, or I'd have to go on my computer at work and email it to my other email at home and then add that to the book, So that was going on for like a good 12 months. So, and for me, that was a really unusual experience because it was so out of the box in terms of what my life was like before. I never committed to anything like that, especially writing. I was at school, I wasn't a person who liked writing at all. I used to bunk off school when I was in school. I was not a school person. I was not somebody who was like, so to get into this stuff was really a turnaround for me. So, but I hope that answers the question. Any more questions?
Well, all I was going to say actually, Carl, would you say for young people, like say children or grandchildren or what have you, how would you say to motivate them, to their dreams?
Right, I think the key thing is to get them to find out what they're interested in, to get them to set up a goal for themselves. I think a lot of young people, sometimes they don't really have a defined goal. So they're in a vulnerable situation where anybody can come along and influence them. And often the influences are negative, they're not positive influences, especially if you look at what's in the media. Not that I want to blame too much on the media, but they're not going to just think positive or set goals for no purpose. A parent or relative or teacher, I think their role should be to try and get them to find out what they're interested in, try and get them to set positive goals, and then work towards those goals. You know, I think that's the key thing. I think it's really getting our young people to set goals for themselves, to set big dreams for themselves, and believe in what they, you know, believe in what they dream, in what they fantasize about, what they want. You know, and not just sort of follow the crowd and go all over the place, which is where so many of them end up. I mean, even with what I do with mentoring, one of the children that I mentored said he had no interest in anything. He says he's got no interest in nothing at all, and that was what concerned me. It's what do I do? How do I direct the person who has no interest in nothing? So the key thing is to try and find out what they like, and then get them to build their interests around that. And then I think that will spiral for them to build a dream from that and set a goal, and ultimately get on the right path of where they want to go. So that's what I would say. Any more goals? Any more questions at all? No. Yeah.
Where do you go next?
Where do I go next? Right. I mean.
So first of all, you've written a book, and is it just the book, or what? I probably missed some stuff. So, are there other things that you have that complement the book?
Yeah. What I would say is, initially, and I think this goes into goal setting as it is, what I would say is, when you set a goal, you usually just start off with the one goal, but once you achieve that goal, it leads to bigger things. And where I would relate that to what you're asking, Michael, in terms of what comes after this, is, yes, I've achieved the book, but what's come out of the book now is I want to do workshops, I want to do more coaching, I want to do more mentoring. A lot of what I'm doing now, those were goals that I was planning to do next year, but I've already done them. And what I want to do is just expand on those. So do more workshops with kids in schools, do workshops for vulnerable adults, people who have gone through some sort of challenges in life and are trying to build their confidence and self-esteem back up and get along, move forward. One-to-one coaching and mentoring, that's something I want to do. But I'm already doing it, but I want to expand on it and do it in a more broader way, where I'm getting more referrals and coaching and mentoring more people. So that's something I want to do, and just turn SelfMade into more of a brand rather than, at the moment it's still just a book, but I want to turn it into more of a brand, and it's becoming a brand because I'm going to be using it for different things rather than just a book. So that's the idea, to expand on it and turn it into more. Find more ways of serving people with the philosophy is the key thing.
Is there another book?
You went there. Yeah.
Have you already gone there?
Yes, there is another book. Yeah.
There is another book.
There is. That is coming out probably next year. What happened when this one came out last year? In August last year, I started another book, and I was surprised because I didn't even think I had a second book in me. And I started to write again, and it felt nice. It was a little bit reminiscent of when I discovered this one. It's never the same as the first book, but it was a nice feeling to be writing a book again. And I was studying some new philosophy, which is still complementary to this philosophy, but it's kind of more scientific related, quantum physics and stuff like that. So trying to incorporate that. This is more straightforward philosophy and personal development. So book 2 will touch on quantum physics, and we'll have more historical characters in there. This one does touch on that as well, and it does have historical characters, but like with anything, you just take it to the next step, basically, or look on it from a different angle than what I've done with the first one. So that one I'm looking to release maybe summertime next year. So that'll be knuckling down and doing more writing and studying again. Yeah. So that's some of the goals that I've got planned. Also more events I've got planned. Yeah. So is there another?
I'm trying not to.
No.
You talked about doing more workshops, so working with vulnerable adults and children and that kind of thing. Everybody in this room probably in our day-to-day lives, we probably maybe work somewhere where, we've got perhaps our clients, our customers, or, our place of work. What would be a good lead for you, if you like, or a good, what kind of person would be able to bring you into a school or into a vulnerable adult situation where you could perhaps have a workshop
I suppose support anybody who's like a support leader, somebody who works in the vulnerable adults department. I'd want to liaise with them. What I've done at the moment is I've contacted people from children and young people services to try and do some support group stuff for the young people that they're supporting, that they're looking after, and that would mean to do one-to-one coaching, mentoring, do talks at workshops and things like that, or set up workshops and do talks at events, that sort of thing I'm working with. That's with the young people. With the adult services, I'll contact a key person in the adult services and tell them what I do and try and see if they can get me involved from that point of view. Those are things that
So if any of us have relationships with people that work in places like
I would be happy to talk to them. That's not a problem. Yeah, you know, so that's the next. Like you're saying, that is definitely the next step of what I want to do. Is more of a hands-on approach. I mean, even being here today and talking to people, this is nice because so many times people read the book, but I don't get to speak to any of my readers. You know, sometimes you get like messages or you get testimonies on, say, Amazon or even on Facebook, Twitter, that sort of thing. But to actually get to speak direct with people and read from the book, that's you know, that's a really nice experience because it's instant interaction, and you can also talk to me and I can talk to you, which is a nice feeling. So more of that is what I would, you know, like to do. Yeah. And really just to get that positive message out to young people, because a lot of them don't have that positive attitude, you know, because of the sort of environment that they're involved in. So it's really to get that positive attitude and positive mentality out to the kids. That's the key thing. That's where it's really my goal of what I want to do next with the book. Any more questions? No? Okay, so let's see where we are now. I think I'll read some more from the book. This chapter is actually quite important. This is the Power of Positive Thinking chapter. And what's important about this chapter, this was the first chapter that I created for the book. It's kind of like if it wasn't for this chapter, there would be no book. So when I had that inspirational moment and I opened up a Word document on my computer and I typed in SelfMade, the next thing I wrote was the Power of Positive Thinking, and that was the chapter. And what I did was I just committed to that and kept adding to that chapter, adding to it, and created that. And then I started to create all the chapters that came after that. But this was the key chapter that started the book. So I'm going to just run through it, I'll read a bit of it for you. Won't read all of it, but some of it to give you a little taster. So it's the power of positive thinking and success. We've all heard of positive thinking, but what does it actually mean? As Shakespeare said, there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. There are always at least two ways to view something, and a person with a positive mindset has made a decision to be happy and cheerful, to see the good in people, their strengths, and most of all, to see their beauty. Yes, you are aware of the bad, but your focus and interest is on the good. You have a prosperity consciousness, which opens your eyes to all the good that you have and all the good that's to come. This is a very powerful mindset which reshapes the lives of millions of people all the time. It can reshape your life for the better too. Do you see the glass half empty, or do you see the glass half full? Do you see the opportunity for happiness and prosperity in your life, or do you see lack of hope and more of the same? For many, happiness and wealth seem like a distant dream. As human beings, we live our lives searching for the fruitful joy of happiness, but we search for it with short-term solutions which often give us more pain than happiness, leaving us feeling helpless and powerless. We feel we have no power over this pain we feel, and we live our lives without great progress, week to week and month to month. We feel this is just the way it is, but little do we know we are so much more than this, that we have the power to change our lives for the better. There is a great power that we are all connected to, and if we only make ourselves aware of its presence, we can find a way to have true happiness and obtain the life that we want, even if we don't know what that is at this moment. So many of us go through life not thinking about what we want because we don't think we can obtain it. But little do we know that virtually any goal is possible as long as we commit to achieving it. We sometimes go through life looking for someone to blame for our shortfalls of happiness and success. this does nothing for us than create bitterness and blame. By blaming others, we are really saying that we are not in control of our lives. The route to success is to take responsibility for your life. This puts you in the driving seat, and you then have the power to make changes. You must also remember that in life, you can only receive what you put in. Do you ever wonder why some people achieve success and happiness and others don't? To achieve success, you have to know where you are going. The people who don't achieve success go through life being controlled by outside forces and situations. They are thinking outside in. If we really want to make a difference in our lives, we have to teach ourselves to think inside out. And this means really thinking about what it is you want and taking time to develop ideas that will improve the quality of your life and doing what you have to do to make it happen. So that's the key. So it's really about changing your viewpoints, you know, resonating with the positive, changing how you see your situation, how you see your circumstance, and not just focusing on the outside stuff, the external stuff. So it's really tapping into your mind, your perception of what's going on, what's happening to you. And that's what I had to do in terms of when I first discovered this philosophy and I started to write, because it was a time in my life when things were not going particularly great. So things were going very bad, but I was coming home and I was still focused and I was still writing and still producing this. And this is what it's about. And that takes a lot of power, a lot of inner mental power to do that, because most of us will get caught up in the challenges and the setbacks that are going on in our life. So it's really about just controlling your mind, controlling your thinking, and focusing on where you actually want to go. And in the same time, multitasking and dealing with what's going on in your life at the moment, but also putting in those actions and those thoughts of positivity to take you out of that situation, to move you ahead. As I said before, everything is temporary. So whatever situation you're going through right now is temporary. It's not a permanent condition. It's not forever. And even what I was going through back then, that's past. That's moved on. You know, and what's left, what's emerged at the end is what I'm doing now. So your dreams will come through as you become the victor of whatever problems or challenges you're going through. And that's the key thing. Always resonate with the positivity. Always keep that mindset focused where you want it to go. That's the key thing. So, any questions at all? No? Okay. So yeah, so that's really the key thing of doing that. And it's really...
Sorry, can I just ask? In your book, you actually do any exercises that people can actually grab that concept of the positive thinking? And
What's in the book is the affirmations. And what the affirmations is like, I would say the affirmation is almost like hypnosis, because anything that you discuss or talk or say, you see that image in your mind. If I was to say to you, your refrigerator, your car, or a door, you see those things in your mind. So what philosophers do with affirmations is you're constantly talking about your success. You're constantly saying positive words. What the Egyptians used to call affirmations was words of power, because it used to get people to think in a certain way. If you're constantly thinking positive thoughts, you feel pumped up, charged up, inspired, you're ready to take on the whole world, you know. And then if somebody comes in and they start to talk to you about a whole bunch of negative things that are going on in the world and stuff, suddenly you just feel a bit exhausted and a bit tired, and you sort of feel like, right, okay, forget this. So affirmations have that power to keep you charged up. And I think what I would say is, as you're doing this day in, day out, that becomes a habit. At first it will be a task for you to do it. You'll have to consciously think, right, let me go to the book, right, where's it? That's affirmation, and you know, consciously do it. But I think once you're doing that day in, day out, you start to just think positive more. You know, it's like even with myself, it could be a bad day, and I just switch the whole thing. I start to think about something nice and constantly charge myself up. And it's really about taking control of your life, because you're saying, I refuse to let whatever's going on disrupt my happiness, my peace, my joy. You've decided that I'm in charge here. You know, I'm not going to let what's going on out there affect what's going on in here. And that is the key thing, and that's the power of affirmations, of using that. Some people misuse affirmations in terms of they're saying it, but they're not doing any actions. What you want to do is say the affirmations, but also you want to take some actions as well. If it's a goal, you want to take some actions on that goal. If it's a phone call you have to make, if it's an appointment you've got to do, which is all part of the goal, that's what you want to be doing. So you use the affirmations to charge you up, but then the next step is to be motivated to take the action. And that's one of the key things. Okay, so any more questions? No.
Is there anything more that we could do to support the brand SelfMade?
Well, I'm totally grateful that everybody's here today. We've got a nice, cosy little crowd here, so this is good for me. It's just really to get to do more talks at events, to reach out to the kids really, and as I was saying before, I'd also like to talk to the vulnerable adults as well and get them pumped up, get them charged up and feeling inspired. When I was with Hackney and I used to work in social services, we used to look after vulnerable adults. This was a little bit before I got into personal development, and I used to see, the conditions that some people are, just no motivation at all. They're just really giving up on life, and they're not happy and they're depressed. People like that, I would love to talk to them, reach out to them, just explain to them my journey, that I've been where they've been. I know what it's like to feel that way, and you can turn it around. And another thing as well, why it's important to think positive and feel good. So it's not just like some sort of like, oh yeah, let's all think positive, but even in terms of your health and well-being, a lot of people I know who feel or think negative tend to be riddled with lots of health issues, because stress that is on their body, when you're in a negative vibe, it's a very stressful vibe filled of worry, fear, anger, sometimes hatred, sometimes jealousy. All of those emotions bear stress on the body, and over time people get ill and unwell. So thinking positive isn't just like a sort of, a popularity thing, oh, let's just all think positive. There's a lot more to it in terms of what you benefit from, in terms of health and well-being, So whatever your mind is thinking, whatever vibration or energy your mind is on, that affects this instrument we call the body. It affects the whole body in a certain way. So if you're thinking positive, that builds up your health, makes you feel better within yourself. You just feel more charged and more powerful. I know for myself, if I'm feeling negative, I feel tired. I just don't feel like doing anything, And if I feel positive, I feel like, yes, let me go out there, do something constructive. So it's really about sharing that. I want to reach out and share those sort of messages to people who are going through those sort of things, and get them to